Biden is expected to address the nation at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. What will he say about the prospect of a war in Europe? Let's go to Darrell Blocker, former deputy director of counterterrorism at the Center for the CIA and an ABC News contributor. Darrell, thanks for being here. I want to get your reaction first to today's reports of this false flag operation underway. You know, this is playing out, it seems, like U.S. officials had predicted. So what do you think we'll see next?
Well, false flag might actually be a misnomer because that implies that the Russians are using proxies that are unknown to be Russian proxies. 5 days from now marks 8 years that Russia rolled into Crimea. This is not anything new. The escalation over the last 24, 48 hours, of course, is troubling, but the people in Donbass and the people in Crimea are used to what the Russians have been playing this game for a long time. And of course, they're frightened. Moving the Russian citizens out of the eastern Ukraine is very troubling. There are a number of roads that they can take, but hopefully they'll pursue diplomacy.
So what do you expect to hear from President Biden this afternoon when he addresses the nation after speaking to allies?
Well, I would imagine pretty much the same. The Russian economy is really small, so they're not going to take as big a hit as Europe, which it supplies most of the fuel to. So the president and the administration has to weigh the concerns of our NATO allies from an economic perspective, and not just from the negative impacts of an invasion. Which I've been to refugee camps, I've been to internally displaced persons camps. It's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be short term. Again, we're 8 years into the Soviets, the Russians moving into the eastern Ukraine, and hopefully they'll stay on the Belarus and on the Russian side of the border over the next week.
Now, sorry, Darrell. So Secretary of State Antony Blinken says that the U.S. is, quote, deeply concerned that Russia is on the wrong path. But he says they're also hopeful that the threat of sanctions and the supply of military aid to U.S. allies will all have an impact. Where do you think things stand on the diplomatic front? Do you think they can have enough of an impact to prevent an invasion?
I do believe that the United Nations and diplomacy has worked quite well since the end of World War II. And quite frankly, there's not been a World War III because of what the UN is able to do. The UN Security Council discussions last night, I was following them. They were heated, but the world does not seem to be jumping onto the Russian bandwagon. In fact, even the Chinese were kind of muted in their criticism of the United States. Of course, they criticize us a bit along with NATO, but they certainly were not jumping into Putin's camp on the reasonings behind the issues going on in the Ukraine right now.
Now, the Senate passed a resolution affirming its support for Ukraine and calling on the U.S. government, if Russia does invade, to use the tools at its disposal to, quote, impose significant costs on the Russian Federation to restore peace in Europe. What do you think that would look like? Is that sort of your traditional sanctions, or does this go beyond that?
They'll hit Putin and his inner circle. They'll freeze accounts. They will make it difficult to trade the things that they need to keep their businesses running, their computer systems, chips, microprocessors, things like that. Weapons could become an issue, and then they risk being a pariah. Russia right now is respected on the world stage. Putin is threatening that.
So what do you think? Do you have a gut feeling of whether this is going to happen or not? How do you see this playing out?
Honestly, I was looking at my old analytical books, and a 10-day window from the 23 February 2014 would have been as early as 13 February through the 5th of March. That was kind of my thinking and my reasoning. We're still in that window. I think once we're outside of that window, things will start to either coalesce or things are going to unravel quickly. I'm always hopeful that peace will be ultimately that both sides will choose.
All right, Darrell, I hope you're right about that. Darrell Blocker, we appreciate Your analysis, as always, and as this crisis unfolds, Martha Raddatz will be on the ground for us for a special edition of This Week Sunday Morning. She will be there in Ukraine.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.